Hi, I'm Tony Kramer, your host of the Agriculture Technology Podcast, and I'm sitting down with agriculture technology and equipment experts to help you enhance your operation for today, tomorrow, and into the future. In this episode, I talk with Clint Sedlacek about Monosem planter. With that, let's get started. I am really happy to bring on Clint with Monosem to talk about the different planter offerings that they have in the U.S. market and around the world. Clint, before we get started, why don't you take some time to introduce yourself, tell our listeners a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and how you got to where you are today.
Well, thanks for having me on, Tony. I'm Clint Sedlacek. I am Monosem USA's Western Territory Sales Manager. Pretty much cover everything west of the Missouri River, and I also cover Quebec in Canada. I have a good background in farming. I grew up in Nebraska as a corn and soybean farmer and a little bit of cattle. And from there, eventually moved down to Kansas for family reasons and kind of backing it my way and convincing these guys to give me a job. And I've been having fun ever since.
There you go. Corn and soybean boy, Central United States. And Monosem got you similar to myself anyways. Monosem kind of opens the door, opens your eyes to different industries within agriculture and what you guys have to offer at Monosem. You dabble in some of the high value crops and things outside of corn and soybeans. So it's been fun and interesting getting to connect with you at Monosem and learn about what you guys have to do. So while we jump in here, Clint, why don't you give us a little bit of a background on Monosem itself, kind of how you guys got started and where the Monosem company is today?
Monosem is actually a French company. It was founded about 80 years ago by Roubelot family, and they started off building mechanical planters. From there, they're actually credited with creating the first vacuum planter in the world that was market produced. And then the U.S. division was launched in 1980. From there, we've grown pretty much across the whole world, pretty much no continent we're not touching or have anything planters on. Kind of like I said, it's a crazy thing is when you think planters, you think corn, soybeans, and then we have this whole other area of high value crops that we cover that includes things you never think about, going all the way from we plant flowers to arugula to bok choy. Huge market we cover, and we have to have a large, broad variety of products to cover it all.
Where you and I grew up in the agriculture we're used to, it's corn, soybeans, maybe some sugar beets or things like that get thrown into the mix, but it's Monosem has a very broad spectrum starting over in Europe and very large. And what you guys have to offer, what is it like on some of the planters, not every model, but some of the planters, there's, 200 plus different crop types?
If you go from NG Plus, our mainstay, we say about 130 different crops that can plant with it. And the MS, I'd say it's probably 80 plus. With that one. So yeah, combined, you're easily looking over 300, I'd say.
That's something that is new to me, being able to have that broad spectrum of different types of crops. Now, we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about different models that are available. But the other thing I want to bring up that is kind of unique to Monosem is your guys' planters are truly, built to order. There is no real specific kind of base spec. You guys are a true kind of custom built planter based on what the customer is looking for. Talk to us a little bit about that process and what allows your planters to be so configurable.
Yeah, we like to say our planters are almost like snowflakes. No two are the same when they come out of the factory. No assembly lines here. Every planter is hand built by our crews. And it's something we have to offer because of all the markets we cover. We cover the odd and the unusual. We've expanded and adjusted our row units to get us to allow spacing that none of our competitors can offer. And then when we go over to the vegetable side, you have to be flexible. And we're talking about line or row spacing that people in the Midwest could never even think about when you have to get down to 2-inch line spacing. You got to be flexible and got to be able to modularly build these things. A lot of these crops, no grower grows them the same. You can have one guy who grows onions at 3 inches apart, seed line, and then you have the guy next door. He grows onions also, but he grows his at 4.5. We got to make sure we can kind of meet the market wherever we can.
Yeah, that's another thing I've learned in the vegetable production of agriculture is a typical row or broad acre commodity crop. We've got, 30-inch row spacing, 22, 20, we've 15-inch. We've got kind of these standard sets, whereas vegetable, to your point, onions might vary a little bit or lettuce varies a little bit. And that's why you guys have to stay flexible. And it's a great offering to have to be able to line things up the way you want them based on your operation and how you produce your crops. It's very unique to Monosem, and I think that's one of the things that sets you guys apart from some of the competition. Now, let's dive in a little bit to each of the different types of models. You kind of teased it a little bit when we were talking about different crop types. You had mentioned an NG Plus, but I know you guys have a couple other models out there as well. Tell us a little bit about the different types of planters or different types of row units that Monosem has to offer.
Yeah, we offer, it's a pretty wide range to kind of cover what we do. But we have our mainstay four. Our first one is our ValoTerra, which is our newest offering. It's an all electric row unit that also offers what we call ASG high speed. It's very similar to the Deere brush belt. That's mostly geared towards corn and sunflower growers at this time, but it's a very modular row unit with a lot of new cutting edge ideas that we're pretty excited about. And then we have what most people probably know us for is our NG Plus. We've had that one for about 40 or 35 years now. That is our mainstay. It can plant a huge variety of crops. People love it for its reliability, its simplicity. That's kind of the one we like to promote a lot. And then we have our NC, which is a take on NG Plus. It's a large shoe planter, which I know a lot of people aren't always familiar with shoe, but especially on a large planter like this. But that's more geared towards our Latin America and Mexico customers. That's how they prefer to plant corn and soybeans, is with that shoe planter. And then the last to round out our lineup is our MS, which is our mini seed planter. And that's geared towards the vegetable market, mostly out on the West Coast and kind of in the Northeast is where we see majority of those go to.
Let's dive into the MS planter a little bit because I know you guys have some different offerings within that MS portfolio. Tell us a little bit about each one of those different row unit versions and why a customer would choose one versus the other, some of the differences there.
Yeah, we have quite a few different offerings. I believe we have six or seven different row unit setups for the MS. The mainstay is our MS version A. That's just our basic row unit. Has a front press wheel and a rear press wheel. And that's used for generally most vegetable crops that need to be spaced 8 inches or wider. And then we have our version B, which is a stripped down version of the version A. It allows us to get tighter row spacing. We can get down to about 5.5 inches with a version B. We utilize that when we need to get that tight spacing. A lot of times we'll partner that with what we call is a duo bar. It's two bars mounted together. So you have two almost ranks of planer units to allow us to get even tighter spacing. We then have our version C, which the C is an A, but it has a split shoe on it and a dual seed disc, which means that we can plant two seed lines out of a single meter to allow incredibly tight row spacing also. We also offer that with adjustable shoes. So if, say, like you want to plant one crop at 2 inches and another crop at 4.5, you can get a shoe that can adjust between those. We then offer our D, which is what we also call our onion planter. It's two of our MS meters mounted into a single row unit. What that allows us to do is get pretty good row spacing or line spacing between those seed lines, but also allows us to have better control over the depth control on those meters. We also can partner that with disc openers, which allow us to cut through some residue. It's more of a minimum till kind of setup, and not for heavy residue. Then we have our version M, which is our high density planter. It's where we take a lot of meters and we mount them into a single bed. We can go anywhere from, if you wanted to put 1 meter in a bed, or we can sometimes get up to 18 meters in a bed. Pretty close row spacing on that. We can get anywhere between, sometimes 1.5, and then we can go larger. And then we round it out with our version G, which we actually developed for the Southwest, specifically the Yuma region, where it's a row unit where it's made to mount into a sled, and it carries all the weight onto the toolbar instead of transferring that weight to the bed. That allows the growers not to have to worry about compressing their beds down or wrecking the beds as they're planting. And that kind of rounds out all of our options for that.
Yeah, so that, again, back to the kind of built to order, the different offerings of row spacing, row units, all that type of stuff. You really have a solution for anybody. And from my perspective, with RDO equipment, our stores on the West Coast, it offers them, whether they're planting lettuce or broccoli or whatever it may be, there's different offerings. There's different solutions. You talked about that high density, lot of row units. You talked about the version G, really designed for that desert Yuma, Arizona region. And then I know the version A is very popular, kind of in our Salinas Valley, the California coast there. So it really offers, a solution for any vegetable grower out there based on where they're at in the world and what they're trying to do, what crops they're growing.
No, you're 100% right. I mean, it kind of falls, like I said, it falls in that category of we got to be flexible. And then, with this, when we offer this stuff, we offer it, it's more like a baseline. It's not an end product we're offering. It's a starting point. That's sometimes a lot different for a lot of people when they come to us, because usually when you go to equipment manufacturer, what they show you is what you get, and that's it. Ours is, no, here's where we're starting, and here's the building blocks, and let's see if we can make something for you. And sometimes that includes building blocks we don't even have, and we have to go out and make them or find them. That's how we continue to grow and adapt. For us, there's usually no idea that's a crazy idea. And we always try to see if we can make it work. And sometimes some of it, leads to some longer term success, because usually if it's affecting one guy, it's affecting multiple people. And so we try to listen to the customer and take what they say and their feedback we take it pretty seriously.
Now, before we jump into this last product that we were talking about here, I'm very excited for the launch of this product. I just want to mention or take a moment here, talk about some of the, John Deere specific technology that we can tie into, say the MS, the NG Plus, ValoTerra, NC. What are some of the technologies that we can capitalize on when utilizing these Monosem planters?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Tony. And like I probably should have mentioned earlier, is a lot of people don't realize this. We actually are a Deere company. Deere bought Monosem in 2016, and since then we've been integrating, working closer with them. Part of that was we got that ability to access the Deere technology. So in terms of the ValoTerra and MS, is the ValoTerra uses what we call SeedStar M, which is our version of SeedStar 3, and it allows us to tie into Operations Center, which I think a lot of people find a lot of value in. Definitely helps them optimize their operations, get more out of their planters. And then for the MS, right now we offer ground and hydraulic drive, which allows us to utilize SeedStar 2, which especially for these high value crop guys and vegetable growers, this is technology they have not had access to before. And so we're kind of breaking ground here with these guys and giving them the ability to see, live population of their planters and being able to adjust in cab, getting their eyes on data that they didn't know they could get before. And again, same thing, ties into Operations Center, which again goes full loop with these guys, because then adds another layer onto their operations they have set up there, whether it be they're also adding in tillage onto that, or if they added in some kind of harvesting setup into that. Now they're getting all that data in one place and getting all that tracking in one place. And then, we can even lean into if they set up prescriptions for their planters, we're eliminating one less factor that can go wrong. When an operator pulls up into a field with a planter, he can have it preloaded up and it shows up what he's supposed to be planting and at what rate he's supposed to be planting. And all he has to do is accept it and go. And it just eliminates that chance of something going wrong there.
Yeah, it really has opened the door. Like you said, we go back to broad-acre commodity crops, or say corn and soybean. Those farmers have had, or that industry or that side of agriculture has had SeedStar or planter monitoring systems for many, many years. We are now offering these types of monitoring tools and documentation into the vegetable crops and some of those markets that have not had this technology in the past. So it really opens up that door. And to your point, bringing this stuff into the John Deere Operations Center, you talked about creating work plans and taking some stress and easing things for the operator, making things, doing things behind the scenes in the office, but allowing that to flow into the tractor and vice versa, bringing the tractor data into the office to be able to make educated decisions. That's new territory for the high value crops. And I know you made the comment about John Deere acquiring Monosem back in 2016. You guys still operate as Monosem, but you've got that backing of John Deere and the technology and the tie and all of that type of stuff. So it has really opened up a new door for high value crops and vegetable farms to be able to access these types of technologies. The last thing I want to talk about, Clint, I'm very excited about this, is you guys just launched a brand new row unit, or a way to drive a specific row unit. Talk to our listeners a little bit about MS Electron.
Yeah, no, we're very excited about this. It's something that's been in the works for us for a while now. MS Electron, it's more reference to the system of, like you said before, we're going to change the way we drive the row units. It's an electric motor that mounts on front of the meter and then connects to a pole end to the side with a small belt system. But what this does is we're eliminating a lot of the older technology of chains and sprockets and hex shaft, and we're allowing a better control of these meters. And then not only that, we're adding another layer of technology to it. So with the ability to put these motors on here, we're now going to be able to offer SeedStar M to our vegetable growers, which is a much better software suited for what they're looking to do than SeedStar 2 is. The software can handle what we're doing a lot better. You can actually get live singulation data on small, high population seed crops. So say you're doing lettuce at 500,000 seeds per an acre. With our new sensor that's part of MS Electron, which is our SeedWatch Mini sensor, you can actually get accurate readings of that seed. And we're showing significant accuracy with this. We've done tests that we're pushing the limit of the sensor. We've gotten up into the high hundreds of thousands with small seed and gotten accurate details on this. So, and as part of this too, like any electric drive planter, you can now, you have adjustable rates and you can change what you're doing on the fly. Like I said, we're super excited about this. Right now, we are only offering it on new planters that we're building, but the plan is hopefully by Q4 of next year, we'll start offering retro kits where our existing MS users can actually buy a kit from an RDO dealer and go out and put it onto their existing planter and convert it over to electric drive and utilize SeedStar M. So it's something we're very excited about. So a lot of work's gone into it, and we're already taking the meter everybody loves and trusts and just making it a little bit better now.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm excited the most about. So we take MS Electron. You had mentioned ground drive and hydraulic drive. Now we've got, again, not only does Monosem have every row unit offering for anything you could possibly imagine, but now we've got every drive offering. If ground drive truly fits your operation, or if you'd like to take that next step, get to hydraulic drive, and then now we've got that top tier electric drive, more control over those row units, more control over the meters. It's taking it to that next level. And we've kind of got now that good, better, best. So you've got your good ground drive, your better hydraulic drive, and now your best with electric drive. So very excited for the launch of this product and everything that Monosem is bringing to the market with MS Electron. If somebody wants to learn more about any of the products we talked about here today, Clint, where can they go? Who can they talk to?
First off, you can go to your local RDO dealer and talk to someone there, and they'd be more than happy to help you out. But unfortunately, if you're not in an area where there's not an RDO, you can go to our website. It's monosemusa.com. On there is a link that you can click that will help you locate dealers in your area who's an assigned Monosem dealer. You can also visit our other website, monosem.com, for a little more in-depth details on some of our planters and offerings.
Awesome. I just want to thank you, Clint, for taking the time out of your day to sit down and talk to me about Monosem planters and everything that you guys have to offer. Whether it's your typical corn and soybean with that ValoTerra NG Plus type of a platform, or you're in the high value vegetable type crops with the MS or mini seed row units, Monosem has definitely got a solution for your operation. So thanks again for doing this.
Well, thank you, Tony. I appreciate it.
Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already. You can subscribe to the show on the many different podcasting apps we're streaming this out to, such as Apple, Google, Spotify, as well as many others. While you're out there, drop us a review. We'd love to hear what you think about the show. And finally, make sure to follow RDO Equipment Company on Facebook, Instagram, X, and catch all of our latest videos on YouTube.